your life. The secret is in Replete Spring Serum Complex. It puts elasticity back in your jawline contour for completely remodeling the effects of winter. It improves firmness. It gets rid of sagging and wrinkles. And it puts the smoothness, radiance, and freshness you want in a spring day.
RepleteSkincare.com for your skin to look and feel its best.
Every day is a great day at KCAA Radio. August 9th is National Rice Pudding Day. Rice pudding is made from rice mixed with water, milk, coconut milk, evaporated milk, or cream, and sometimes vanilla, cinnamon, and raisins. A variety of recipes are used when preparing the dish, either for dessert or dinner. When preparing rice pudding for dessert, a sweetener such as sugar is added. Dating back to the Tudor period, the earliest rice pudding recipes were called white pot. One of the earliest known methods was written down by Gervase Markham in 1615. The best way to observe National Rice Pudding Day is to have fun in the kitchen by trying this rice pudding recipe and then share it with your family and friends. Use hashtag National Rice Pudding Day to post on social media. For KCAA NBC Radio, I'm Andrew Caravella, and this has been The More You Know. Are you ready for a new experience? To see life from another point of view? New hope, new expression, new joy. This is your radio hour. Welcome to Viewpoint with Father John.
Welcome, friends. You are tuned in to KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, or on the World Wide Web at kcaaradio.com. This is Viewpoint with Father John, and I am your host, Father John Reed. By the way, you can follow this show on Facebook at Viewpoint with Father John. All of God's children are endowed with extraordinary purpose and ability. I am on a quest to help as many as possible in fully realizing their divinely inspired potential. Disposing of false narrative and embracing genuineness inspires clarity of purpose. My role is to help overcome self-imposed limitations in realizing one's spiritual potential. This is a listener-supported program, so if you want to help keep us on the air, please go to www.viewpointwithfatherjohn.com. Go to the support button, click, and you can add whatever money you'd like to put to this to keep us on the air. For those who have been contributing, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping to keep us on the air. A couple things going on. As you remember, Martha Bass, I've done workshops with, and she's been here a few times as guests on this radio show. Well, folks, we have some good news. We're doing another workshop in October 6th to be precise. Again, it will be in Claremont. We're working on the final details of it, so we'll announce what the subject matter will be. But we're also putting together some videos. Isn't that exciting? So you'll be able to on different topics, see what we have to say on it. We invite you to do that. Here in California, we are still dealing with these fires all over the state. It's incredible, the heat that's going on. And please keep our firefighters and all first responders in your prayers. They're doing quite a job. Some are winding up in the hospital from heat exhaustion because of how hot it is outside. I implore you, if you have lung problems, if you have trouble breathing, asthma, any other COPD, any problem with your lungs, if you're able to, please stay inside. It's not a good time to be outdoors. I know it's bad when on my phone I get an alert saying air quality is so bad, stay inside. If you have asthma, keep your inhaler with you. Needless to say, in my pocket I have my inhaler because Gabby told me if I don't have my inhaler and I stop breathing, she will beat me till I start breathing again. So I if I'm feeling blue, it's not because of you. So anyhow, so tonight we have an excellent show in store for you. I'm grateful to say that my guest tonight is Hollis Joe McCullum, who is the author of the book To Save a World. And so why don't we bring her on air? And Hollis, say hello to the people.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm enjoying my sofa at the moment.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I'll have a potato, too. We're having couch potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
And I appreciate you being up so late. I see my board operator has his inhaler out already, so The air is bad over here. Anyhow,
My goodness.
I hope that's because of the smoke and not because of my breath. Anyhow,
Let's hope so.
let's hope so for that. But we're keeping you up late, and I appreciate you being here. I know you're on the East Coast, and so you're really doing us quite a mitzvah, as my Hebrew friends would say. So you are the author of the book To Save a World. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's a fantasy adventure novel with a little romantic subplot because everyone likes a little bit of romance and, makes writing more fun, certainly. And basically the characters don't start off wanting to save the world. The world, the fantasy world that is not Earth, that is this totally different imagination thing, it's polytheistic, and all of the gods got in this huge war many years ago, and they killed each other off. And without any of the gods, there is no one to govern the goings-on and the seasons. And so the world itself is in literal chaos.
Wow.
Mountain ranges popping up overnight. Seasons have no meaning, which means that crops are failing, and it's just horrible. And so the characters initially set out to try to just help their own people. Okay. And then through that, they discover a little, surprise, of course, surprisingly for them, but also hesitantly, that they actually are the ones who can solve the problem. Wow. And bring back. There are two gods that could still be revived, and they have to, and once they are restored, then balance can once again be restored to the planet, and seasons will be okay, and then crops will grow appropriately, and so on and so forth. But they have to wrestle with that responsibility because, of course, they, on one hand, they don't want the world to be doomed, which it clearly is. And on the other hand, it's really tough, and they themselves have to sacrifice almost everything just to have it. So they have to make the choice between the quote-unquote right decision and the selfish decision. And, of course, they choose the right decision and help everybody out and kind of give themselves a rough time. But, wow. Yeah, so that's kind of the story in a big nutshell.
I like the way you phrased that, the right decision or the selfish decision. And I like the idea that the two gods, the yin and yang, if you will, if I'm hearing you correctly. What gave you the idea for this storyline?
Well, it is a very nerdy origin. My best friend and I like to play Dungeons and Dragons, and we and this particular story or quest, if you will, was one that we had played back in 2007. Of course, I changed it for the book because from a game to a novel, you have to make adjustments. Sure. Because it's not going to directly translate in, addition, subtraction, so on and so forth. But after we went through that quest in that game, I said, I really enjoyed it, and then I just got inspired to sit down and write, and I sat and I said, well, that was a great story. I'm going to write it. And I wrote it down, and then everybody liked it, so I got it published.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I'm going to embarrass my board operator, Nick, at this time, because he being we were not in the confessional, I don't have to keep this a secret, but he might have been one of those people joining you in Dungeons and Dragons. Say hi, Nick.
Oh.
Hi. Yeah, I told him off air that I didn't play Dungeons and Dragons too often myself, but I ran with a group in high school that did.
Isn't that like an alcoholic says, I don't drink that often?
No, Magic the Gathering was my game. That's what I played.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Yeah, I played Magic the Gathering quite a bit back then, so I'm a fellow nerd, I guess.
Oh, yes. We I feel a kinship with you immediately, Nick. This is nice. I feel comfortable.
Oh my goodness! I feel like a fish out of water. I feel really like I've accomplished something because I figured out how to play solitaire on the computer. Okay, so You guys are both totally out of my league. Well, tell us a little bit about your background. Where do you hail from, and what was your life like?
Well, I've had a great life. Very, very fortunate in my existence thus far, and happy about that. So that's nice. I'm a Navy brat, so to speak. My father is now retired Navy officer.
Well, please thank him for his service on our behalf.
Oh, I certainly will. Thank you so much. Yeah, he's a wonderful guy, and you know So I was the youngest of three. My brother and sister are older than me, and born originally right in Southern California in Ventura.
Well, that's almost Southern California. We don't always claim Ventura, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I like to tease. So yeah, we moved around quite a bit from there. Lived in the South Pacific, and because when you're military and if you're willing to hop on cheap flights that where the Marines are being shipped from one end to the other, then you can really have a nice cheap vacation and not pay a lot of money for a flight. we got to go to a lot of cool places that that we, again, extremely fortunate. Brother, sister, and I always got along beautifully, played together. Rare siblings, if you will. We always we had some arguments here and there, like any families do, but really got along really well. And then when my father retired from the Navy for the first time, they did ask him to come back many years later, because he did a great job. So they asked him to come back to Washington. But he retired in Georgia, USA, of all the places. And he got a job at Emory University for a little while, and so from about the age of 11, I was 11 years old at that time. I had been living in Georgia. Grew up, high school, went to college, got my degree in world history, specialization in ancient cultures, particularly the Etruscans and medieval Europe.
Wow.
And then I moved to the Czech Republic for a little while, and then came back and was in Colorado, and then ended up right back here in Georgia. Yeah.
Nice.
I got another job at the university that was my alma mater, Kennesaw State University, and I went to visit some friends and say hello, because I used to work in the international office there as a student assistant. And when I walked in, they said, "We have a job opening that you'd be perfect for." And I said, "Great! I just got back to the United States. I need a job." So I got the job as the international admissions advisor for Kennesaw State, which means that I was the visa officer for all the international students, and for 7 years there, and I loved it. And then I went to private sector and so on. But yeah, I babble. Please tell me to.
Well, that's okay.
Whenever.
When you're talking about dealing with visas, when I was the chancellor for the diocese, I handled that for our clergy. So I do know the headaches that go with dealing with. We dealt with are called R1 visas.
Yep.
And it's interesting. People think that President Obama was easy on immigration, and he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He really made it a lot more difficult, even almost as difficult as they are now, for getting visas. Because I can remember before he took office, I can just send in the paperwork, and it went through pretty easily. And by his second term, I was really having to fight to get people over here from the Philippines, and these were good priests. They were just coming over to do priesthood. We'll talk a little bit more about this after the break. We're coming up to the break. My guest tonight is Hollis Joe McCullum. Am I saying your last name correctly?
You are, yes, thank you.
So we'll be back in just 2 and 2.
The loss of a loved one is one of the most challenging experiences in a person's life. it's hard to know where to turn to make your loved one's final arrangements. Jesse Ruiz at Personal Funeral Planning in Ontario will treat you and your loved one with the respect you deserve. Jesse served in the Marine Corps in Desert Storm and understands what it takes to provide loyal, personalized, and empathetic service